It's no surprise that Bedwars YouTubers use all kinds of bow and PvP techniques to be able to win their matches, but you can also learn these tricks to help you become a better player and hit combos, hit crazy bow shots, and win more matches. In this video, I divided it up between 3 different tips from Minibloxia, Tanqr, and some bonus tips straight from me, including a trick on how to aim better and ways you can escape or survive dangerous situations, and hopefully I helped you, so subscribe if you haven't already, and enjoy. First up, we got Minibloxia, and the tip we got for Minibloxia would be getting extra hits from the bow, which can allow you to combo more effectively. Now in this clip from Minibloxia, he was using his bow to get some extra hits, making it easier to combo and faster to kill the players. But he combined this technique with what I call the high ground technique. And I talk more about this technique in these 2 videos, so if you haven't watched them yet, check them out after this video. So Minibloxia had his bow out and he dealt some damage. And afterwards, he jumped down from height to fight not only 1, but 2 players. And he was actually able to successfully kill them. So I decided to try out how getting extra hits can help with beating players. And so in this next clip, I hit 2 bow shots on a dude before I engaged in sword combat with him. And after some hopping around and some attempts at aiming, I was able to kill him. And then after I broke his bed, he respawned and quickly bought a stone sword because he tried making it a fair fight. But by that time, I was already a step ahead and all I had to do was hit a bow shot and finish him off with a few hits. For this other dude, it was basically what I did with the last guy, but this time I ended this fight a little faster because I was able to get a few hits off. This yellow player built a bridge to my bed defense, but luckily I was able to get a quick hit off and another hit right before I engaged in sword combat. But since he was focused on my bed, he wasn't able to kill me or break my bed because I was able to kill him faster based off of using the extra hit tip from Minibloxia. Now for this next tip we got from Tanqr, I call it keeping constant pressure, and basically how it works is you use the bow to keep dealing damage on your opponent. And for Tanqr, he was on balloons, but instead of landing first, he decided to use his bow to deal quick damage so that when he lands, he'll be able to kill the player much faster because he decided not to waste the time he had while he was in the air. Once he landed, all it took was 2 more simple hits, which allowed Tanqr to secure the kill. And I decided to try this out in a match against this dude where I was floating up with balloons. But instead of wasting time, I applied pressure by hitting a few bow shots, which caused him to start running and the chase begun. I was trading shots with this dude, had Jade, so he kept running, but I knew that as long as I keep the pressure and keep applying damage, I will eventually kill him. So that's what I kept doing until I reached the part where he was able to get really low, and all it took me was 1 last bow shot to end it all, and he died. And up next we had this guy who had no choice but to run from me, so instead of chasing him like a mindless zombie, I decided to keep applying pressure and damage with my bow, eventually leading him to a bad spot where I could just hit him off. Now for this next clip, it's honestly a really good one if you can learn when and how to use it. This guy was running from me and I hit him off, but instead of keeping him floating with balloons and letting him heal, I took it as an opportunity to put pressure on his vulnerability and drop him down to hit bow shots on him until he runs out of balloons and falls to his death, allowing me to win the match. And to wrap up the pressure tip, we're going to show a clip of how I was able to hit a guy off, which then allowed me to hit him until he had no more balloons left. But because he was lucky and decided to keep a pearl on him, he was able to just barely escape his death, but the damage has already been done because I forced him to use up all his balloons and pearls, which put him at a disadvantage during the match. Now, because it's a crystals video, it's now time for your extra bonus tips straight from me. And I'm going to be giving you guys a tip on how you can hit bow shots more often using your imagination and some practice. So a trick I always do if I want to hit long range bow shots is I try to memorize the speed of the bow and predict where the opponent is going to go next. I then aim ahead and fire the shot. It also helps to be more accurate by looking at the level in where your opponent is standing on, and what I mean by that is if they are spam building, it can be harder to aim, but if you raise the aim of your bow to the level that they usually reach, you can hit the bow shots, and it would be even easier if the opponent is just crossing without spamming their blocks. And with practice, you can start hitting more bow shots much easier. And for this last tip, going back to Minibloxia, is what I call taking advantage of vulnerable positions. And what I mean by that is using your bow or a certain weapon to attack a player while they're at a spot like an edge, bridge, etc. And for Minibloxia, he was floating with balloons and the dude was crossing the bridge, so he used his bow to hit him off and easily killed him. So for this next clip, I decided to start shooting my arrows at a player, causing him to start building up and attack me. He then was getting me low, so I jumped off with balloons but tried not to get too low so I can bait him to go on the bridge, and then I easily bowed him off the map, ultimately leading to the win. And for this other guy, I was getting a pretty good combo on him with my diamond sword using the It's Maddie technique, which I spoke about in this video over here, and he started running, so I realized that he was really close to the edge. So I quickly whipped out my bow and shot him off the map. Now this other guy built up in a very vulnerable position and thought he was safe. So with some quick thinking, I bought a bow and arrows and stood there hiding my bow to correct my aim with my mouse, which actually tricked him into thinking I didn't have a bow, and then quickly took out my bow and unexpectedly shot him off the map extremely easily. And for the last clip for this tip is a mix between using the Minibloxia vulnerable position tip and using the Tanqr constant pressure tip. So this guy was taking some hard damage from me, so he then decided to use his balloons early while he was in a bad position, allowing me to keep the damage and the pressure on him even while he's in the air and trying to escape. He finally landed on the diamond generator and for some reason thought it was a good idea to bridge to the next base even though he knows I have a crossbow. So because of this costly mistake, I was able to take advantage of it and shoot him off the bridge, leading to him falling into the void and me winning the match. Now guys, quick little tip. Please don't be like this guy and start bridging to a base that's decently far from you while knowing that you have no balloons or pearls left and being shot by arrows. Next time, what you can do instead is either go behind blocks for protection or build protection. If you have a good amount of blocks and camp there until you heal up in a player after you stop shooting at you, but in case you're at a really bad position or you know that the player will pearl on you, if you camp, then your last resort can be what I call unpredictable bridging. And it's basically bridging in an unpredictable way, like straight, then going up, moving back and forth, etc. But let's say that you don't have much blocks left. What you can do instead is bridge while building walls behind you. And worst case scenario, you barely even have blocks for that. Just try to build up high and bait your opponent to either build up to you or teleport and try to hit them off while you have a wall that stops them from hitting you, just like how I do over here. And also, I plan on making a video about block tricks that you should use, so stay tuned for that. Now, to recap on all the tips we covered today, was getting an extra hit with the bow from Minibloxia, and it's basically self-explanatory. Then we did constant pressure from Tanqr, and to put it in simple words, it's to constantly deal damage to your opponent, to never let them breathe, and to keep them on pressure so that they can make bad mistakes, kill them faster, and even be able to combo them more effectively. Then my bonus tip, which was how you can aim better, and the Minibloxia tip for attacking players when they're in vulnerable situations like on bridges, near edges, or on balloons. And last, I showed some more extra ways you can have a higher chance of surviving dangerous situations using some different bridging techniques and showing some other options you can do. And now for the big question, which tip out of all of these is the best one? Well, if you think about it, all of these tips can be used for each certain situation, and the best players learn how to incorporate all of these in their matches. So all I can say is try them out and see what works best for you. Comment down below your favorite tip out of all of these, and if the video helped you, consider dropping a like and subscribing because we're trying to hit 20k subscribers, and it would really help if you press that big red button, and you'll get a chance to be a part of our family of the best players. And enjoy the rest of your day or night. If you like this video or you learned something, then click on this video over here if you haven't watched it already.